Now, for ICT today, we are going to move on to a new topic. The last 3 weeks, we've been looking at how to link slides, and we have done 3 tasks. Last week, we looked at how to link slides so that our story can appear in the correct order. Today, we are going to move away from linking slides, and we're going to do some coding using Scratch. Now, remember, before we started linking slides, we had created Scratch accounts. So I hope all of you remember your login details. Ms. Bor said no one should ask Ms. Bor about their password and username because Ms. Bor does not know what you wrote down. Today we're going to code an interactive online game. I know you all love playing online games. We are going to be the game programmers, and we're going to program our first game, and the game is called Slug Trail Game. We will be working on this game for the next 2 weeks. We are going to work on it in stages. So today, we will start by creating our game sprite and background, and then we will program the sprite to move.
Let's start by looking at how our Slug Trail game will look and how it is going to be played. Now, the Slug Trail game has a track where the slug will move on. The slug moves using the mouse pointer. It follows the mouse pointer. As the slug moves, it leaves marks. It leaves a trail. It's those marks that we call a trail. So the slug moves on a track. It follows the mouse pointer, and as it moves, it leaves a trail. Now, when the slug goes off the track and touches the green grass, it makes very irritating noises. So let us see the game. So I have the game. I am going to start playing it. I click the green flag. It gives me the instructions. Good, so that is how the game is played. The slug starts moving, and when it moves, it starts with a thin trail, and the trail becomes thicker. When I say the trail, I mean the blue mark it draws. It gets thicker and thicker, and you did hear some very irritating noises. When the slug goes off the track, it makes those noises. So, step 1, to start creating your game, you need this green background and the track, and you need the slug. So let's go to step 1. You have to open Scratch, which I believe you all know how to. You have to log in. I've already logged in. Please, if you've forgotten your login, please create another account, or just go straight to create without logging in. But you need to make sure you take your screenshots and your videos before you close. But I would advise that you log in. So I've logged in. I go to create. And when I'm in create, I get that brand new blank screen for me to do my work. The first thing I do is I remove the cut because I'm going to create my own sprite. Now, I would like you to please take note of these two tools. This tool is for the backdrop, the background, and this tool here is for the sprite. Most times people confuse these tools and then they make a background that is a sprite. Then you'll find your background moving. Your background should not move, only the sprite moves. So let's start with our background. I go to this tool. Remember, I'm painting my own. I go to the brush. And when I click the brush, I get this painting area with the tools. I have to click convert to bitmap so that it can allow me to draw and paint. Then I go and use this fill tool, which is the bucket. And the first thing I'll do is I'll fill color on my background. So I'm going to change the color to green. When I have changed the color to green, I just click the background and there I have my green background. The next thing I do is I draw my truck. To draw your truck, you need the brush tool. So you click on the brush. You can't draw a green truck because the background is already green. So you change the color, and I'm going to make my truck orange or brown. So once I change the color, I need to change the size of the brush so that the truck is thick. So I'm going to make it 70. So I just click until it gives me 70. Once I'm at 70, I can now see I have a thicker brush. You can make your brush even thicker because remember, the truck you draw has to accommodate the slug. The slug has to fit in the truck. So the next thing you do is you just draw the truck. It doesn't matter what shape your truck is. Just make sure you have a truck that covers the screen properly. So that's my truck. So now you can see on my display, I have my truck and I have my background. I need to now draw my slug, and the slug is my sprite. To draw my slug, I come to the sprite tool. And please note, you know that it is a background if you can see it under the stage. So I'm going to the sprite now to draw my slug. I click there and I go to the brush. And when I'm on the brush, I can now see a blank sprite one here. This is where my slug is going to come once I draw it. So I go and I use the circle because I'm not a very good artist. I find it easy to draw using shapes. So I click the circle and I change the color of my slug because my slug cannot be brown. If it's brown, the truck is brown, I will not see it. So I'm going to change the color of my slug to maybe blue. And then I'm now going to draw my slug here. I'll draw an oval, and that's my slug. Then I'm going to give it some tentacles. So I'll take the line and I'll draw tentacles here and another tentacle there. And I can put some dots at the top up here, just little circles and a little circle there. So that's my slug, and you can see it here. Now the slug can move because it's a sprite. The background cannot move. So if your background is moving, know that you have not used the correct tool. How do I know I have used the correct tool? Under stage, I can see my background, and in sprite 1, I can see my sprite. So you have to make sure it is the correct one. When you have drawn your slug and trail now, note the slug is too big. It needs to fit in the trail. Otherwise, when I start playing my game, it will make noises over and over again. The slug is not meant to touch the green part. So how do I make the slug small? Down here, there's this tool called size, and now it says 100. I can reduce it to 30 or 20, depending on which size, and press enter. Now look at my slug, it's become very small. Now I try and fit it in the trail and it fits in the trail perfectly. So that is the first step. The first step of creating your game is design or draw a background with a truck and then draw your slug. So that is the first stage. We are now ready for the second stage, which is coding the slug to move. And remember I said the slug moves following the mouse pointer. Right now it cannot move because it has to be coded. So when we go to the next step in coding, we will do two things. We will code the flag to start moving and make the pen ready to start drawing. So now we have our background and we have our truck and we have our slug. And we have to make sure that our slug is small enough to fit on the truck, or the truck is big enough to accommodate the slug without the slug touching the green part. Now this is how the game will work. The slug will follow my arrow. So as I move the arrow, the slug is meant to follow it. The other thing the slug does as it moves is that it draws a line. So it leaves a trail or a mark behind it. So our first program today is going to instruct, is going to control. So our first code today is going to control the slug to move following the arrow, and also to control the slug to draw a trail. Now we need a pen to draw, but if we look at our scratch blocks here, there's none called pen, so we can't draw as yet. So what we need to do is we need to add a pen. Now the pen blocks are an extension that you can add. In the old Scratch 2.0, there were pen blocks. But in the new Scratch, which is 3.0, we do not have pen blocks. Pen blocks are an extension that you need to add yourself. So I'm going to show you how you add pen blocks or the extension. If you go here, you can see that it says add extension. So you click on it. And all these are all the extensions that you can add. There's a text-to-speech extension that we will learn later. They're very interesting extensions that we can use, and we will learn to use them later. But today we're going to add the pen. The pen is what we're going to use to make the slug draw a trail. So what you do is you click pen. And when you do that, you see, we now have a pen and we have all these green blocks. Now we are ready to start programming our slug to move and draw at the same time. So let's look at how our program will look like. Let's look at how our code will look like. First, we have to decide when do we want the slug to start moving. And that is the events blocks. So we go to event, and I decide I want my slug to start moving as soon as I click the green flag. So I'll bring the green flag. So when the green flag is clicked, the slug should start moving. But before it starts moving, we should make sure that any drawing that was made before is erased, is rubbed out. So if we go to pen, so we start with the pen blocks, we go to erase all, meaning if there's any drawing on the track, you have to rub it off. So we put erase all to make sure we clear the track and we get it ready for the slug to start drawing anew. After it erases all, then to draw, the pen has to be down. You can't draw if the pen is up. So the next thing you do is you tell the slug to put its pen up. So we go to the next one, which is pen up, and we put it there. So we have put 2 pen blocks. One block makes sure that you clear the track of any marks or any drawings and make it ready for the next drawing. And then to start drawing, you have to have the pen down. So if the slug is carrying the pen or it has the pen attached to it, if the pen is down, if it moves, now the pen will draw. Now we are ready to now tell the slug to move. So we are going to tell it now. We're going to go to the move. We're going to go to the motion blocks and we're going to choose move 10 steps and we put it there. And then it should move as it follows the pointer. So it should know where it's moving to. It's moving to the direction of the pointer. So we have to go and choose another block that says point towards mouse pointer. Point towards mouse pointer. Can you see this? So we put it there. Now, the arrow, this arrow is what we call the mouse pointer. It will be following this arrow. If you look at my track, I'm showing you the arrow. So that's the mouse pointer. Now, let's try our program now. If I click the flag, it will just follow the pointer once and stop, which is not what we want. For it to go around the track, it should continuously follow the pointer. Now, how do we make it continuously follow the pointer? We need to make it happen forever. Remember, our forever loop makes things happen over and over again. So I'm going to go to my controls and I look for forever, and I have to make sure that forever is covering the move 10 steps and the point towards mouse pointer. Now let's try. If I click, now you see it's pointing. You see it's following? It's following it though very fast, so that is what we do. So that's how you make it follow the mouse pointer. So today we are only going to create this one program and this one code. So today we are only going to create one code. But this code, though it's one, it does 2 things. First, it makes the slug move, and then it makes the slug draw as it moves. But as you can see, the slug we can't see what the slug is drawing as yet. So next week, we are going to put a color to our pen. So if the pen has a color, then we can see what it is drawing. Right now, the pen does not have a color, so we can't see what it's drawing. So we're going to change the pen color in our lesson next week. I want you now to go to Scratch, open Scratch. Remember, you start by painting your truck. You have to have a background, then you draw your truck. After that, you draw your slug. After you draw your slug, then you're going to create the code that will make the slug move and have its pen ready for